not having our elders as our first teachers and us being taken away through like residential school, it always seems to go into that circle, and residential school is what has really hurt us.
We weren't allowed to talk our own language. We were severely punished for that, and we weren't allowed to practice any of our own cultural practices. So when you say taking the Indian out of the child, that's basically what they were doing. And the end result of that was not a good result, because what happened was a lot of people who went to residential school got lost, because they lost their culture, they lost their language, they lost family ties, they lost their ties to the community. Speaking for myself and my sister, you go back to your community, but a big chunk of your life is gone, has been lived out of the community, so you feel like you never really belong. So that was totally taken away from you. So it was it's not a good experience.
We didn't talk Cree to our babies when they were small. That's the trouble. That's where the trouble came from. That's where they started not wanting to talk Cree, because all they heard was English. We talked English to the kids. And when they were small growing up, that's all we did was talk English. Even our parents started doing that. All they did was, but for me, I was in residential 5.5 years, residential school. But I didn't lose my language. And I was raised in a white world, because my parents had to go out and work in a white world. I was hardly on a reserve. I was in a white world.
First time we started drumming, I taught him about teachings of the drum and how it came about, and the hides, like these stuff, crafts. It's very important and for them to learn these things in this program. It's teachings that were passed down. These teachings came from a long ways, like way before my grandparents, and yeah, these are very, very important values that they have to learn if they really want to, find themselves.
There's different sounds to it. Look at it. Follow. Tight. Just right. Follow. Tight. Just right. I'll show you guys. There's different styles of songs. This one is the chicken dance, like not the chicken dance you see at a powwow. There's a chicken dance in our yeah, in Cree.
We did a chicken dance for our Christmas.
Yeah. But even the crow style have a certain way of songs.
Try it. Try it.
But there's a double beat, right?
We need to go back to the land. We need to go back to our traditional people, back to our culture, and back to traditional ways of learning and knowing. And that's the way to bring our language back, to revitalize our language.
To cleanse.
Yeah.
With the sweat.
What do you guys know about the sweat?
I know it's law. It's like not to swear in here, not to talk dirty. Not to
Talk when you're supposed to talk.
not
Don't
to
talk when you're not allowed.
In meeting with our elders, they showed us by example. And their kindness and their storytelling and oral tradition That's part of who we are as not only Cree, but as First Nations people. And if you look at society and where we are today, like here at, not only at a Takakoop school, but not only our kids, but even for me as a First Nations educator, but more specifically as a woman, it's even hard for me because I don't have my language.
We had lived a life. I've seen a lot in my years. I've told us kids how we used to live. And I tell them how I used to live. I used myself a lot, how I lived, and the things we used to do, because our parents, we were poor. Our parents couldn't afford toys for Christmas. They used to make toys for us. Those were toys. And our chores, that was a game for us. We had fun doing those chores because we were racing. It was a game. And it was fun. And I call them the good old days. Because there was no such thing as drugs.
These are good eating though. These fish.
Something to eat.
We won't starve.
I think it's important for them to learn that it's a part of their life, and it's a way of living. And a long time ago, that's all people had was to eat from what they catch. So I think responsibility is good for them to learn that when you are catching fish, that you don't waste it, you eat it, and to live off the land, basically. I think it's important for them to learn to live off the land.
Our ancestors are from the land. They lived from the land. Everything was from the land. I lived from the land. I seen that. So, we are native people from the land.